Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a get unready with me while I take my makeup off and do my skincare, and I'm going to be telling you the story about my old landlord that I had from hell, basically. Okay, so I'm not editing this video, so if I mess up, I'm just taking some coconut oil. That's what I take off my makeup with. Anyway, so this story takes place a year ago at this time because I moved back in with my mom. Well, I'm in with my mom, well, elderly mom. She has dementia. She's 73 years old. I moved in with her like a few days before Christmas last year. But this was the time that I got evicted. But what this man has done goes far back than this. I mean, like years. Why I rented for him from so many years, I don't know. But okay, so basically we're gonna rename him. We're gonna name him Stanley. So I rented from Stanley. It was a 3-bedroom house. I live in Louisiana, so the rent is kind of cheap. My rent was $4.50 a month, but I tell you what, this house was not worth $4.50 a month. It wasn't even worth $10 a month. But me and Stanley had a deal. He worked, and I had taken care of his elderly mom, who had dementia, while he worked, because they lived literally around the corner from me, and I wouldn't get charged rent. Okay, so I did that for about 2 years. So 2 years ago, he put his mom in the nursing home. And I'm just going to give you some examples of the crap that was in this house, what I had to go through. Okay, first off, the hot water tank went out. That hot water tank was ancient. The gas company had even come flagged it to get a new one, okay? So he bought a cheap hot water tank from someone off the street, literally. And it took him a month to actually put it in because he's lazy. And when he did, all he did was complain the whole time. He had help, but he complained the whole time, saying he wishes he would have set my house on fire and stuff like this, so we wouldn't have to deal with this. Well, once he put it in, I had to literally get somebody over there to light it, because the man didn't know how to light a hot water tank. Okay, it was gas. It was gas. So I had to get somebody over there to light it. Okay, cool. It worked for about a month. And then it went out. And when I tell you, when it went out, I had to go a whole year without hot water in that house, because this man would not buy me a new hot water tank. The one he had bought from someone off the street was not new. So I went a year without hot water because he would not buy me a hot water tank. I gave him over $1,000 in October of last year to buy me a new hot water tank. So he didn't. Instead, he went out with the money and partied like he always did with everybody's rent. Okay, so that's the hot water tank situation. In 2020, we had Hurricane Laura and Delta over here in Louisiana, okay? A piece of my roof in the dining room had came like off. That was really the only damage to my house. And ever since then, it started leaking water in my dining room. I told him about it, okay? It took him a year to come to my house and fix it, what I call fixing it. What he did was take a tarp, go on top of the roof, put it down, and put bricks on top of it. That's it. That's what he did. It worked for 2 days, and then started leaking again in my dining room. And where it was leaking at, it was in the middle of the ceiling and up against the wall by the window, and where the water was coming in at when it would drain down, there was an electrical outlet right there. And thank God the breaker in the dining room didn't work. I mean, hardly anything worked. And so what had happened was, I kept telling him about the roof. He never would come fix it. Never would come fix it. So I was giving him rent money for like a year. And I kept telling him, I'm not going to keep paying you rent. You know, you won't give me a lease agreement to sign, because on the lease agreement, you have to put whatever breaks, you have to fix it. And you're not going to do that. So I told him, I said, in October of last year, I said, I'll give you $1,000. Go get me a hot water tank, a brand new one. I did that. If I would have went and got the hot water tank myself, I know a lot of people is going to say that, he would have fussed at me. He would fuss at me when somebody would come to the house and try to relight the hot water tank to get the junkie went to work again. I mean, this man was weird. But anyway, so the ceiling was leaking. That never got fixed to the day that I got evicted this time last year. But I'll get to that. The ceiling was still leaking, the hot water. Still no hot water. But luckily my mom lived around the corner, and I'd go to her house every day and take a shower. So let's see what else. All the outlets in this man's house were burnt. Like, I do have pictures. I don't really know how to insert them on a video or whatever. But all the outlets in the living room were burnt. Every one. And I'm just taking this turmeric. So they were all burnt. He never did change any of the outlets. There's that. Some of them didn't even work, actually. Let's see what else. Oh, there's so much I could tell. Huh. But anyway, let's get to like the eviction part. So December comes around last year and the rent's due. I told him I'm not paying the rent because I gave you over $1,000 in October to buy me a hot water tank and you never did. So he said, okay, well, you don't have to pay the rent for December. Okay, nice. I know you're not going to buy me a hot water tank, so okay, thank you. That's better than nothing. 2 days later, I get an eviction notice on my door. So yeah, I got evicted. And I moved out into my mom's house with her. Because she's elderly, like I said, and she has dementia. So I was taking care of her when I moved in here. Whenever I got evicted, it was raining. My driveway was very muddy. I had no help moving besides my cousin. She was the only one, and she worked, so we had to work around her schedule. I had 5 days to get out my house. I kept texting him. I said, since you evicted me, you need to give me a little while longer to get out because I have no U-Haul. I have no more money because I didn't give you the money to get a hot water tank and you never did. And he said, okay, I'll give you a week. But I got out within that week. I got a storage unit and everything to put all my stuff in. Mind you, my big stuff, my furniture in the living room, my bed, my dresser, almost everything that I had furniture-wise, I left in that house. I could not fit it in my cousin's vehicle. I couldn't fit it in my storage. So I left literally everything in the house. My stove, my icebox, everything. Because my mom's house already had this. It was furnished. So that happened, and what had happened was Stanley, I call him a scum lord, which a lot of people in this town do. And I have warned everybody not to rent from this man. He doesn't fix anything. He will lie and he will complain the whole time, and he will use the money to go out and party. And before I rented from this man, let me tell you, me and my kid's dad rented from his brother and his sister-in-law for like 2 years. same house, but we were paying $575. Wasn't worth it back then either. That was in 2010 and stuff like that when I had my kids. It wasn't worth it back then either. So let me tell you about these two. We'll call her Georgette, and we'll call him Stephen. So Stephen and Georgette was the landlords before Stanley. I would pay Georgette and Stephen the money for the rent, you guys, on the 1st of the month. They was texting me on the 3rd, begging me for the next month's rent. I'm like, what? No. And I threatened to bring them to see a lawyer, and they stopped. But then Stanley ended up becoming the landlord because his mom was, you know, elderly as well and had dementia. So he became the landlord, and at least Georgette and them, they kind of fixed stuff, kind of didn't. I mean, they would half-butt fix it. But Stanley didn't fix nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Not a thing. And it's not like he didn't have money, because he had 5 rent houses plus a job. And he was living in his mom's house, so he didn't have no rent to pay. Just utilities, which was not that expensive. But anyway. So basically, this scumlord, to sum it all up, made me go a whole year without hot water because he didn't want to buy me a hot water tank. Made me go have a leaky ceiling in the dining room for a whole year because he didn't want to fix it or hire nobody to fix it, which was getting mold, actually, because I was starting to get headaches and get sick. Every outlet in the house was burnt. And I had even called the Board of Health on him. Before I moved, I called the Board of Health. The man told me, he said, we need to see the stuff that's on the outside of the house, not the inside. The hot water tank is on the outside of the house. Everything else that was damaged, like the ceiling and the outlets, were on the inside. I said, well, you can come look at the hot water tank. It's not lit. It don't work. And if you want, I can take pictures of everything in the house, because I had documented, recorded, took pictures of everything every month. Every time that it rained, I recorded the ceiling leaking, and I told my name, the address, the landlord's name, and the date. I said all that in video. I still got the videos. Pictures were taken every month showing the hot water tank still never worked. So I told the man from the Board of Health, I said, if you want, I can take pictures and I can, you know, text it to your secretary of the stuff on the inside of the house that's messed up. The only thing that's on the outside is, yeah, the roof on the top, where he put the tarp and the bricks, that was on the outside, but way at the top. And then the hot water tank was underneath the carport. And I said, but as far as like the ceiling leaking and the outlets, I can take pictures and send them. The man never got back in touch with me to give me her number to do it. So I just said, screw it. But I did go on Facebook and I blasted him, the landlord. So yeah, so I'm in a better house. I have central air, central heat, hot water, shower, and I'm blessed now. I don't have to deal with that scumlord no more. But I will be taking legal action. I have. And like I said, I have everything documented. So if you see this dude, I'm coming for you. So anyway, everyone have a great night. I am sorry for the past 2-3 days that I haven't been filming. I have not been feeling good. I've been sick in bed with a headache all weekend long. So I will see you guys tomorrow for another Vlogmas video, and like this video, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. Bye everyone.